Today we're going to jump in and have a look at a kit from Andy's Hobby Headquarters, and that is the 1/16th British M10 Achilles tank destroyer. Now the brand Andy's Hobby Headquarters is based on an American gentleman who you've probably seen his YouTube videos. He does a lot of reviews, very proficient guy, does a good job I think. And what's happened in conjunction with the people at TACOM, they've now announced this brand. It's now been out for some period of time. There's been a number of models come out. They've done Tiger tanks, they've done a couple of different variants of Shermans. We've now got the M10 British Achilles, and we've also got the M10 American tank destroyers. So let's just jump straight into the British Achilles and let's have a look at what's inside the box. So when we go to open the box, as you can see, absolutely substantial, and there's quite a few sprues in here. There's about 32 sprues. There's photo etch, there's metal cable, there's decals. It's just a really comprehensive model kit, and I believe it's going to be one that's going to be a very enjoyable build. Now the reason why I want to showcase the M10 Achilles is that, as I said, Andy's Hobby Headquarters started off with a Tiger, they started off with a Sherman. When we look at large-scale model kits, that's what we seem to see lots of, Tigers and Shermans, all day, every day. And I guess that's, from a manufacturer's point of view, it's a safe model kit to produce because you know it's going to sell. Now the M10 was built by the Americans. It's based on the hull of the M4 Sherman with the running gear and all that type of stuff. But then the British took this, they fitted it with a 17-pound anti-tank gun. It's an open-topped anti-tank gun, and there's loads and loads of opportunities for this. So let's crack this box open. Let's see what you're going to get for your money. So here we go, taking the box top off, and we can see that there are loads and loads of plastic sprues in there. Okay, that box is really well packed. There's, as I said, 32 odd sprues. There's obviously some duplication, but let's have a look at these and let's see the quality of the moulding. So the first thing we'll have a look at out of the box is the hull top. We've got some really nice defined weld lines there. The finish is very smooth, so that's going to benefit from some stippling with some liquid glue or possibly a Mr. Surfacer type product put on there to get that rough texture finish that we would expect from something like this. I think that looks really nice straight out of the box. There's the hull tub, and we can see we've got lots of bolt head detail there. Again, probably not going to see a lot of this because it'll be either weathered or hidden by the running gear and the tracks, but again, a little bit of a textured finish on there would look a lot nicer, I think. But it's still going to build very well out of the box. So I'm going to go a little bit out of sync to what we normally do, but let's have a look at the instruction booklet. 24 pages with fold out and double-sided pages. Colour, as we can see, we open that up, bit of a blurb there from Andy himself, the man himself. We've then got the sprue layout and what's included in the box. So we can see there all the various sprues, the metal gun barrel, the towing cable done in a copper cable, photo etch, which is the bases of the ammunition for the gun, and then of course the decal sheet. The build assembly is fairly straightforward. There's nothing too onerous there. Careful research for your internal colours, for your weapons loadout, all that type of stuff. It's going to make the world of difference. I think it's not necessarily going to be a quick build, but I do believe it will be a very straightforward build, especially if you've done your research. Loads of detail, the plans or the instructions aren't too busy, they're not overly confusing, which is a really nice thing to see, because you really do want to get the best out of this model. It's very impressive, like all the Andy's Hobby Headquarter models have been to date. There have been a couple of more announced. There's an M8 Greyhound armoured car on the way. There's recently been announced an M113 armoured personnel carrier. Now that will be of particular interest to modelers of Australian subjects, because I think that with a little bit of work, you should be able to do a representation of an Australian M113 out of that. I like the crew figure because it's a British or a Commonwealth figure with the leather jerkin on, with the black beret, and of course the big 17-pound anti-tank gun. Very impressive looking bit of gear. Done in metal, but that's a very substantial part of the kit, very noticeable part of the kit. Then got the painting, the marking decals, very, very straightforward. I really do think these are very, very appealing in the British Armoured Division camouflage. It looks really good. There's a winter version, very, very nicely done. As I alluded to, the 17-pound gun, the gun barrel is a very, very prominent feature on this armoured fighting vehicle. So we've got the gun barrel, we've then got the ammunition for the gun, and as you can see, it's all moulded as a single piece. On the base there, where the fuse caps would be, that's actually supplied to us in photo etch. So that's a really nice touch. That really does allow for some careful painting, and in the construction process, these are going to be a real hero part of the kit, I think. They're almost little kits in themselves. So with careful painting, won't have much weathering, they're going to look really, really nice. There are some transparent parts in the kit. There's obviously the periscopes, which will be masked and painted. They're going to look really good, especially in this larger 1/16 scale. They're going to be very, very noticeable. Got some headlights and tail light lenses there, which are going to look very nice as well. Decal sheet all appear to be in colour, in register. There's not a lot of excess carrier film. What's that? 10th Armoured Division, the famous British 8th Army. So some very, very famous units, some very, very commonly known units. Looks really nice. You know, again, because of the scale, I mean, look at the tow cable there done in soft copper. That's really, really nice and super, super easy to use. We really are, as modelers, spoilt for opportunity and features in models nowadays. We've come such a long way from what we used to be able to build, you know, as little as 5-10 years ago. But if I'm thinking back to when I was a young fella first making models, you know, back in the 70s, I mean, gee, we've come such a terribly long way. So as is so commonplace in models, especially armoured fighting vehicles currently, the tracks are individual link and length. And in this kit, because it's the large 1/16, we actually get 5 sprues of the various track components. So we can see there the track pads, we can see the joiners, etc., etc. So you're going to get yourself a little bit of a production line going to get these made. But I think, again, the advantage here is that there is so much potential for the individual weathering, for making this model really stand out, you know, with the tip of a number 11 X-Acto blade, scraping lines and taking chunks out of these pads so you can get that really heavily weathered look on the track pads, or it might be something that's just rolled straight off the factory. You know, that's what's so great about this hobby of ours, is that you, the modeler, can do as much or as little in regards to weathering and super detailing as you like. And at the end of the day, as I always say, as long as you, the modeler, is happy with the end result, that's the main thing. There's some additional parts for the track. So not only have you got the 5 sprues that we've already shown you, but now you've got these additional grouser pads. So, you know, 7 sprues to build the tracks. There's a weekend's work just in itself. Now, this is the figure that is supplied with this particular armoured fighting vehicle. We've got here a British gunner, and we've got the you know, the leather vest that these guys wore. You know, very, very commonplace on British soldiers, particularly during the Second World War, but also through other Commonwealth units. We've got the soft beret, the black beret of the Armoured Corps. What I really like about what these guys do at TACOM/Andy's Hobby Headquarters is that they break the figures down to make sure they get as much detail as you possibly can. So not only have we got the shoes, but then we've also got the soles separately, so their additional detail can be done. If we look here at his hands, if we look at his face, the detail is all there, and it's just done so very, very nicely. But this is quite impressive out of the box. You know, there's his holster, so you know you'd have the ability with maybe some fuse wire to put a lanyard around his neck, going to the butt of the pistol. Would look really, really nice. And again, that's a level of detailing that if you want to get involved in, especially in 1/16, it's something that can be reasonably easily achieved. Because the Achilles is an open-topped armoured fighting vehicle, you'll be able to look down into the gun compartment, and obviously they've done a lot of work in making sure that the detail in there is sufficient for the modeler. You know, things like we can see there the checker plate floor. You know, it's going to be really nicely done. That'll weather up really well, and will probably be one of the standout parts of this model. Well, for me anyway. I mean, that's the type of detail that I look for when I'm building my own model. We can see there the mounting points for the anti-tank gun, the 17-pounder. The more I look at this model, the more I am impressed with what they've been able to achieve. Okay, so that's the Andy's Hobby Headquarter M10 Achilles tank destroyer. I think it's a very, very nice kit personally. So, as always, I'm Andrew from Hobbies Australia. Take care, stay safe, and as I always say, let's build more kits, especially 1/16 scale. Bye guys.